With Halloween coming up, I'm reminded of a past experience. Me and my friends decided to go to the Carnival of Fright in our town. We all grew up together and went to the same school. There was Joey, Alex, Sarah, and me. We had just enough money between us from our part-time jobs to go. We decided on a time to meet and went on opening night. We had lots of fun, saw lots of people in food carts. One part about the place really gave me the creeps though. The fun house of terror. I know. Sounds pretty corny, but what happened there, I'll carry it for the rest of my life. Hey you guys, let's go to the fun house, Alex said gleefully. I don't know, man, I said. Come on, don't be such a wuss, Sam, Joey replied to me. Hey, if you want, I'll stay by your side. Sarah attempted to calm me down with her pleasantry. Fine. Sarah took me by the hand, and we all went towards the funhouse. Coming closer to the entrance, I had a very bad feeling I simply couldn't shake loose. We approached the main door and were met with the maniacal laughter of a clown playing from a loudspeaker mounted on the wall in front of us. I swore I could hear the distant screaming from inside the funhouse. Maybe it's part of the maze, I thought to myself. Come on in, kiddos, the host standing outside the entrance exclaimed to us. He was dressed like an 80s circus lion tamer. It was a neat costume, I'll give him that. But I didn't like how gleeful he was to invite us in for some reason. Everything seemed off to me here. Stepping into the funhouse was like stepping into a whole other world. It smelled like cheap glass cleaner and perfume in there. All around us we heard banging on the walls and echoing laughter from every direction. Before long, the narrow corners and short hallways become more difficult to traverse as we went into the darker parts of the maze. We came to a fork in the path that split into two equally separate directions. I've got an idea, guys, Joey says. Oh boy, this can't be good, Alex replied. No, seriously. Don't even think about it, Joey, I said. How about we split up? Come on, it'll be fun. Hell no, I remarked. Suit yourself. Come on, Alex, you're with me. Fuck yeah, let's do it, Alex said. Wait guys, come on, wait a second, I don't think this is a good idea. Joey shrugged his shoulders as he backed into the darkness of the left path. Alex followed behind him. See y'all on the other side. Guys, come on. Don't worry about them. I got you, Sam, Sarah said to me. I didn't know any better at the time, but looking back at it now, I think she was in love with me. If only she knew the feeling was mutual. She took my hand once more, and I blushed and gave her a half of a nervous smile as we went towards the path on the right. I was so embarrassed I thought she would think I'm a wimp for not being braver. She stayed by my side anyway. She was always there for me. After a while, the laughter and screams died down. We were suddenly plunged into silence. I felt my heart race through my chest as we entered what seemed to be the scariest part of the place. Turning a corner, me and Sarah ended up in a hall of mirrors. I don't suppose ladies first would be appropriate here? I chuckled. No, sir. You go first. I did, after all, get you this far. Sarah playfully said to me. Well, here goes nothing, I said as I walked onto the glass floor that reflected just as much of us as all the mirrors that surrounded us. I don't get it. What's supposed to be so scary about this? Sarah spoke, but as I turned around to answer the question, I realized she was gone. Sarah? Sarah? I shouted. I started frantically searching around the room, bumping head first into mirrors. I couldn't find her anywhere. The mirrors were so disorienting, I found myself lost, trying to locate her. I stopped for a second to catch my breath and noticed something odd. There seemed to be a reflection of another person standing in one of the mirrors. They were dressed in a clown costume. The clown then pulled out a butcher knife from his side and with the other hand dragged out Sarah by the hair. I could see her struggling and begging for her life, but no sounds were heard. The clown stared at me with an evil grin, unblinking, and raised his knife up to the ceiling. Hey, asshole, that's enough. This isn't funny. Let her go, I said to him. The clown's sadistic grin grew wider as he came down with the knife with a brutal force and chopped her head clean off. No! I yelled as I tried to run towards her. I was stopped in my tracks when it was revealed I was looking into another mirror. I ran right into it as it made an awful sound. I quickly turned around only to see the same thing again on the other side. I started banging on the mirrors that closed me in a box. What the hell? What the hell? Let me out! You son of a bitch! I looked down at the reflection of Sarah's body and began to break down in tears as I slid down the mirror wall. I put my face in my arms and closed my eyes as I wept. After several minutes of composing myself, I opened my eyes and was shocked to see that the entire bloody scene was gone. I was no longer boxed in by mirrors and was right back where me and Sarah started in the room. I echoed through the hall of mirrors, hoping she would respond. She unfortunately didn't. I reluctantly journeyed forward once more in search of my friend. I managed to escape the room and was met with an eerily familiar hallway full of darkness and tight corners. Maybe I just imagined this whole thing. Maybe Sarah got out too, and I was having some kind of hallucination, I said to myself. After stumbling through the silence and darkness for a few minutes, I came to the same split path from before. The right path was blocked off with a sign that said closed, do not enter, along with bright orange cones. My only option was to go to the left, where Joey and Alex went. Surely this can't be the same path from before, right? I asked myself. Against my better judgment, I stepped into the left path. I could barely see through the dark hallways as I felt my way around. I was shaking, and my palms were drenched in sweat from my nervousness. As I stepped further in, I suddenly became very cold. I could see my own breath in front of me. I felt around the walls until finally I was met with a doorway that led into a meat locker. Giant cow carcasses hung from huge metal hooks attached to chains mounted to the ceiling. These all looked real. They didn't look like props. And oh God, the smell. It was awful enough to instantly turn your stomach into knots. I wanted to throw up, but just as I was about to heave, I was stopped by the loud sound of scraping on the rail of the ceiling. Something was coming fast towards me as the corpses moved aside from the force of whatever was barreling towards me on one of the chains. I quickly moved out of the way as the body halted to a stop in front of me, violently swinging back and forth. It was a human shape in a body bag. The cloth was stained with fresh blood that still dripped through the bag. I slowly approached it and started to unzip it. I jumped back in horror and gasped at the sight of Joey dead. His eyes were rolled to the back of his head, and his face was covered in icicles. His throat had seemed to be cut open. I couldn't bear to look at him any longer. I zipped the bag up and hurled all over the floor. "What the hell, man? What is this?" I said. I decided it was time to get the hell out of there before I was next. I hurried back into the dark hallway, trying to feel my way back. I was more scared than I've ever been in my entire life at this point. As I turned that all too familiar corner that led back to the split, I was met with the most gruesome sight I've ever seen, and I will never forget it. Alex was mutilated and strewn piece by piece across the room like a web of flesh and bone, hung across the walls like some sick and twisted banner. "Oh my God! Oh my God!" I said in terror. "I gotta get out of here." I hopped over the cones and signs blocking the path to the right. I ran through the dark, silent hallways as fast as I could, not daring to turn back. After several minutes of running, I came upon a dark room with an exit sign hung over my head and two metal doors. I swung them open with great ferocity and bolted outside as I collapsed on the ground. "Sam?" I looked up as I heard the familiar voice of Sarah. "Where were you? We've been looking for you." You got out?" "Well, of course we did, silly." "We've been out for a while," Joey said. "Yeah, man. Hey, you okay?" I'm not sure." I looked back at the funhouse emergency exit as it slowly creaked itself closed. "Let's get out of here, guys. I want to go home." We immediately left. I never told them what I saw in there. I'm still not even entirely sure myself what happened in that place. After everything that happened, me and Sarah became closer, and we eventually got married. Every now and then I think back to that night, as she asks me what's wrong. "Oh, nothing. I'm just grateful to have you is all."